All right, everyone. Hello. Thank you all so much for being here and joining us. We have Susan Lynn on tonight. Always a good time. How are you doing, Susan?
I'm
How's everything
great.
going?
How are you? Thank you so much for having me on. It's been a minute, I feel like. We were just saying, I don't think it's been longer than usual, but it feels longer than usual,
It does. Yeah, I was on your channel, I think, in May. I think early May.
right? So it's
So
our
yeah,
normal. We always do that. We
once a
re-up. We
month.
automatically, when we finish a live, we schedule the next one. So it's the same amount of time, but I just think so much has happened.
Yeah, and time's
Maybe
going
we've
by so
aged a
fast
lot
too.
in this past month. Like maybe that's what it is.
Maybe. Time's going by so quickly too. I mean, we're
I
already
swear to
halfway through
God.
the year, right? Isn't
I
it crazy?
swear. Yeah,
So it's
totally.
good to have you on. It's always a good time. I know everybody enjoys our collaborations and so do I. So I'm glad that you're all settled down and you've been traveling a lot. So everything good with you, my friend?
Everything is good. Everything is good. It could be
All right.
better. I mean,
Yeah. Yeah,
you
right.
know what I'm talking about. It could be
Mhm.
better, but yeah, we're making the best of it.
Yeah. It's interesting because this summer it just feels like it's going to be so crazy with all of the illumination and like things starting to come into place and the visibility of it. Although it does feel like it's really heavy energy too, like going through like counter protests and like some civil unrest and all of that. But so we're kind of like in the eye of the storm. So we've already kind of halfway went through half of the storm.
Sure.
It's kind of like calm and we're waiting for that eye to close over us again before the storm's finally gone. That's how I kind of intuit it anyway, right?
I think that is the best description. Like I haven't been able to articulate it like that. It's like
Mm,
I just keep telling people we're halfway through, right? We really
yeah.
are truly, I believe, halfway through. And I think the next half is going to be it's going to be a little bit there's going to be some challenges, right? I think
Mhm,
there's going to be
for
some
sure.
unique challenges, but I think that whatever is on the other side, we're going to get through this. That's the kind of
Mhm,
the question I think for me is what is on the other side. Like I watched your live today and you were talking
yeah.
about I think I'm not sure what word you use, but basically an interim government, right? This is something that we've both talked about.
Yeah,
Even,
we talked about
Kevin and I talked about this when Biden was president.
it.
Back last summer, we said we see something happening next year with the election, and there's some kind of thing that happens,
A
and there
delay.
could we were kind of intuiting that maybe Biden wouldn't leave and there would be this caretaker government at that point. But
Mhm.
really, it's probably going to be when do you think? Like towards the end of the year or next year, or what do you intuit for that?
Yeah. And well, timing's always the hard part, right? Because we
But I
have
think
free
you're better
will
at
and
it. I think you're better at it
ebbs
than
and
most
flow.
people.
I don't know. I've sometimes I'm right on, sometimes it's way off. So um, it's not always so fluid when you're kind of tapping into the energy. So it makes it kind of hard. I'm kind of feeling like big things over the summer and as we get into like August, September, October,
Yeah.
more like into like fall time.
There's a sense of finality
Hmm.
in that fall time. Like either we can't go on like this or we've already broken it and now we're trying to figure out what do we do next. Obviously, we're sort of out of bounds in some ways of the Constitution, so I don't know how that's going to play out going
Yeah,
forward.
definitely
Um
unprecedented for sure. But I think that
yeah.
that's where like the energy feels like it lightens in a sense, like there's some conclusions, but
Yeah.
then also too, there's going to be opposition to change, people that are resistant to it too. So it's still going to be turbulent energy we're moving through. There's going to
Right.
be unrest with it.
Right. And you were talking earlier about how and I see the same thing. And I think that's why I've been cautioning people about protesting. I'm not saying don't go
Mhm.
protest, but you said today, you said use your intuition. If you're getting ready to go and you have a bad feeling about it,
Yeah,
pay attention to that because
yeah,
I think
really honor
one
that
thing
guidance.
that we both see is there's going to be mayhem. That's not my
Mhm.
word, that's their word. So there's
Yeah,
going to be interaction between the groups. And, right now we see people in San Diego, people in Minneapolis, and who knows where else that are standing up to these for lack of a better description, rent-a-cops that aren't
Mm,
really, I mean, you can tell they're not trained because when the crowd approaches them, they don't know what to do. They freeze.
right.
But if we use that same, like we're saying, we're seeing this and we're thinking, okay, we'll surround these groups and we'll show them what's for. If you do that to a trained, a trained tactical police officer of some kind, whether it's ICE or whatever, they will beat you up.
Yeah.
So I don't want people to get a false sense of security just because these rent-a-cops aren't doing, they literally in San Diego, they were running back to their van. And for some
Mm,
reason, their van had police tape on it. And they
okay.
drove off with the police tape flapping in the wind.
Oh,
But
wow.
that's not going to be the case this summer because this summer they're going to bring in real law enforcement. So I
Yeah.
think there's really an opportunity here for a bad outcomes for
Yeah.
citizens. So
I've
just
been,
please be careful.
yeah. I've been getting dreams, and I don't typically remember my dreams, but I'm like remembering bits and pieces of them.
Mm.
Um, maybe like that, maybe the energy's upgrading with all the solar flares and all that to kind of remember key pieces of it. But yeah, I keep on seeing massive civil unrest. Um, it's kind of like we're getting to a boiling point with all the protests and people standing up and being part of the resistance. Um, but I keep seeing like small squads of fake police officers, ICE agents kind of coming in to disturb all of the protests. And I've been seeing that like kind of over and over like the last week or two. Yeah.
And that's why I say I feel like people that view your channel, view my channel, view our community's channels, we're way ahead of the game. Like
Mhm.
we really are way ahead of the game. And we're going to suss it out and we're going to pay attention. There's going to be thousands and tens of thousands of other people who are going to be motivated by their rage and their anger and their
Mhm.
sense of duty. Those are the people who are going to be on the front lines. Those are the people who are just going to be rushing forward. And
Yeah.
that's where the clashes are really going to happen, I think.
Yeah, absolutely. It's going to be reminiscent of 2020 during COVID with Antifa and, um, buildings on fire and just that kind of unrest. The thing, it feels a little bit different this time, and probably because it's meant to, the period of instability that we're in right now is meant to wake up everybody. So even a lot of Trumpers and those that identified as being MAGA, when you start talking about cutting their health care and their livelihood, um, their parents' livelihood, the economy's all over the place and prices are going up, right? Um, at some point it's kind of like a wake up call for some of them, not all of them. There's, people that have drank the Kool-Aid and probably nothing's going to break through to them. But it feels more unified to me now too. It's more isolated, like small protests. We've been seeing like lone wolf attacks against Jewish people. Um, I
And that poor
feel like
gay
that's
guy,
just kind
that
of the
poor
energy that
actor.
we're going into this summer, where you have a lone wolf or a couple people coming together to go against protesters to continue spewing their hate and killing people. I do feel like there's going to be some loss of life,
I do
unfortunately.
too.
I'm
I
expecting
do
it to.
too. That's why I worry about our community. That's why I
Yeah.
tell you guys, and I think that's what Kevin told you today. Use your spidey senses. If you get a bad feeling and you're at the protest,
Mhm.
go to the edges of it, right? Like,
Yeah.
don't pay attention to the energy. I don't care if you guys think you're whatever you think you are. Humans, we're preloaded with that ability because
Yeah.
it's an animalistic ability to know, am I safe? This is energy I
Yeah.
don't like. Pay attention to that.
Absolutely. And this is not to discourage people for going out
Right.
and
That's
speaking
yeah.
their truth, because it's so important right now. We're going to be one of those checks that keep our democracy, keep our constitution for our country. Um, One of the few, but also too, just make sure that you're taking a step back and being really observant of the energy around you. Something doesn't quite feel right, take a deep breath, go within, see if you can pinpoint what is this feeling? You know, am I safe here? Is it best to leave and maybe come back for another one? You know,
Right.
just make sure that you're checking in with yourself with that inner
Right.
wisdom.
Right.
All right. So where do we want to start first, Susan? I have some questions started. We got a lot of people that sent questions in on the post. I have so much going on right now, right?
Yeah, I know. Just throw something out there and we'll
Yeah.
dive in.
What's your feeling about the budget with Elon kind of coming against it, and we're seeing the Republican Party all starting to attack each other? What's your feeling with the budget? Do you feel it's going to pass the Senate? Do you feel like there's going to be a lot of reworking it and not being able to come together? What are you picking up with that?
I feel like it's going to be reworked, but
Mhm.
I still think there's going to be, it's so big, right? That there's going to be, what I'm seeing is hidden pockets that just go,
Rogue.
unchallenged. I mean,
Mhm.
it's just too big, right? So I think it's gonna pass, and there's gonna be things in it that we absolutely do not want. But I also think that then, well, I hope, I mean, I see some Democrats doing it and some not, but I think this is just an opportunity for the Democrats to go back to their constituents and say, I
Mhm.
voted against this, right? And if
Yeah.
this hits you, it wasn't me, it wasn't us. Please play. The Democrats have to get really bigger and louder about
They
this,
have to
but
go on offense.
they have to go on offense. Absolutely.
Mhm.
So I think that it's going to pass, but I think it kind of makes me sick to my stomach, to be honest with you right now, because I see like Mike Johnson, like, and just all these Republicans just thinking that they got one over on everybody or that
Mhm.
they bested us. And we know, like you said it earlier, this is going to hurt people. This is going to starve people. This is going
Yeah.
to potentially, people are not going to survive this. It's nothing to cheer, right?
Mhm.
And you
And
just
for
said it
what?
too. People are going to wake up and see that. They're going to wake up and go, wait a minute, these people want to harm me. And and I don't know what happens, when you're in a cult or you have that kind of dissonance, that cognitive dissonance, where, well, it's kind of like the guys are saying, when you're in a relationship and you finally realize they're cheating, your friend
Mhm.
told me they were cheating, your family, everybody told you didn't believe them, you
Yeah.
couldn't believe it. But when you have that awareness and all of a sudden, like, everything is sharpened and you're seeing things clearly,
Yeah, you get the
I
clarity.
mean, how do you feel, right? This is how they're going to feel.
Yeah. And it drives me crazy too because, yeah, so many people are gonna be suffering because of this. And for what?
Needlessly, as you're saying.
For what? So that the Republicans can pay off their wealthy donors? Meanwhile, Trump's cratering the economy, so their businesses aren't gonna be doing good. We're not gonna have the money to support these big corporations. So, it's not like they're really benefiting. Just that I think they just want the chaos and destruction, to be honest with you.
See, I think
And
they can pass the bill without us, right? I mean, they can pass the bill without Democrats, but I
oh,
wouldn't put it past Fetterman voting with them, to be honest with you.
mhm,
Can they
yeah.
pass the bill without us? Because I think they can.
Oh, yeah.
And it's
I think with reconciliation,
sequestration,
I think they just need a simple majority.
right? And then there's that sequestration thing that basically says that we have to pay for this. So we're not voting for these cuts, but the cuts will be made by virtue of the bill passed. So it's like handing the weapon to somebody else to do the business.
Mhm.
So yeah.
Yeah. I'm with you, though. I do see some form of the bill passing, but I see them doing like major reductions in the cuts um, because it's just not going to fly, you
It
know?
can't fly like this, but I still
Yeah.
think there's pockets of like dastardly,
Oh, yeah.
you
Hidden
you know,
stuff, in their 1,100-page bill, you
I
know,
mean, really.
they write into a budget bill that courts can't hold Trump or his administration in contempt.
Do you think that's gonna stay?
No, I see that out.
Okay. Yeah, I
The
see
thing
that
is
out
with
too.
it, and in the midst of all the infighting, I feel like all of these secret things are actually being exposed. And so then there's the pressure like, okay, well, we can't keep this in the bill. It's like going back to the drawing block there. But I do see something passing.
I see something passing, and
Mhm.
for whatever reason, I hear they have to. They have to pass something. I mean, this is
Yeah,
our budget, right? I mean, this is our, so they have to pass something. Something will pass. It won't be what it is now, but it won't be a great bill. It's still going to be very harmful, I
yeah.
feel.
Well, and also too, well, we know Trump is not very happy right now between his bromance with Elon, Fleon breaking up, and calling out the bill. But I see him getting so irate with all of like the chaos and a lot of Republicans kind of taking a step back. I see him threatening people and them, most of them going to vote with Master and give Master what he wants because we know that
Yeah.
they're too chicken shit to stand up to him.
Yes. He's done that. He's done that when they've been stuck. He's literally called those members, and said, "You're going to do this."
Yeah. Yeah, Trump really is not doing well. I've been talking about his health for a while. I actually had a vision, it felt like a stroke, where he was he was in one of the White House rooms. I don't know if it was an office or what room it was. It was kind of black, but all of a sudden he just collapsed and everybody goes running to him. And then as I was kind of coming out, I heard like an ambulance, but my feeling was like stroke.
Stroke.
Or it could even be symbolic, like the collapse of Trump and his regime.
True
But
too.
he just feels extremely deranged right now, like
Yeah.
even more excessively than normal.
Yeah. Well, whenever something bad happens, he disappears. I
Mm-hmm.
think we forget, but
They're hiding
whenever
him, I think,
he
because he's
stops,
having a total tantrum.
yeah, he
Mm-hmm.
disappears. Whether they lock him up so he can't get, yeah, I mean, he's posting on True Social. If you look at his account, it's not like, probably not the usual amount, but he is, or someone is posting for him, but
Mm.
he hasn't been seen. Nobody's seen him. And I want to ask you about this because
Yeah.
he disappeared when Ukraine did that amazing Trojan horse
Yeah.
thing where they, trucked those drones in all the way almost to Siberia. Um, obviously Putin got surprised, and then
Yeah.
right after that, Trump stops showing up, and also one of Putin's commanders flew out of a window by
Oh,
accident.
imagine that. Yeah.
So yeah. So, but I think that when I go into his energy, not only is he mad, he's terrified.
Mm. Yeah.
Absolutely terrified because I feel like he serves at their mercy. He is at their mercy, and I also think he's at the mercy of Saudi Arabia and other countries.
Mhm. Oh,
They've
yeah.
they've paid for him, and they want results, and the results aren't for America to survive. It's not for democracy to survive. That makes their countries look bad. It makes
Oh,
China
you're
look
right.
bad,
Yeah,
right?
it's to
So
weaken our country. That's why
right.
he's trying to destroy everything. Yeah.
So now Russia's weakened, and if they make Trump disappear or make him look bad,
Mhm.
that's good for them, right? I mean, this is what I'm trying to say to you guys is that this could affect Trump in a way that we're not even thinking about. And with them, it's diabolical. It doesn't matter if they win as long as we lose.
Mhm. Yeah.
Do you
Yeah, I
feel
agree
like
with
he's
that
worried about
100%.
Russia, or he's worried about fenestration or going out of
Yeah.
a window?
Well, I don't know if he's afraid of his life or ending out a window, um, from Putin, but I do feel he was totally caught off guard by Zelensky's attack, and I feel even more of those. I did hear that there was, like, an underwater I
Yeah,
don't know if it was a
submarine
submarine
and the
or missile
bridge.
going off today, and I do feel like more and more attacks deeper into Russia. Um, he almost feels, and this is where like that deranged comment came to me. It's that anger for sure. He's, but it's also like too terrified in the sense of like, okay, now he's so desperate. What is he going to do? Like, because they have the goods.
Yeah,
They have all of
they
the
have the
goods.
goods. I mean, they could ruin him. They could.
Like a caged animal is kind of the energy that I feel.
Yes. Yes. And that's a dangerous thing.
Yeah. But also too, with it being so much of a danger, maybe that is why we're really feeling like the end of this regime too, because even the higher ups and those that are really in control are like, okay, this guy is batshit crazy. It's like, okay, well, we have to do something here. Do you feel
Absolutely.
like those in power are going to kind of that may be part of the downfall as well? It's like because he's too loose of a stray loose animal, rabid animal out there, and like they have to protect themselves and their stability.
Who are they? Russia?
No, I'm talking about the elitists, those that are
Oh,
really
the oligarchs, the American
oligarchs.
oligarchs.
Yeah.
Yes, and I can tell you, I've been talking about that for a long time.
Mm,
That I felt like the oligarchs would be the ones to pull the plug for so many reasons, right? There's just a lot of
mm,
reasons, and I can tell you that I got an email from someone whose husband is a CEO
mm.
and has direct knowledge, direct communications with 45. And that guy pulled his funding, millions of dollars, pulled his funding and put it towards a Democrat.
Oh,
So,
interesting.
yeah. So this is happening, right? Like this is happening on a level that we don't see. So what I would suggest is let's all, like these everybody that's not a Republican, I think, has to report their earnings. So we
Mm,
could go and look at, like, say, Newsom or whoever Democrat. And if you see their campaign starting to get millions and millions and millions of
yeah,
dollars in their war chest, then you know where it's coming from. You
yeah,
know where it's coming from because the Democrats are not in fundraising mode because we're not getting 27,000 texts a day, right? So that's the Republicans pivoting,
mm,
going, these people are going to burn my country down. I didn't want that to happen. This is untenable. I can't even live here. This is like a banana republic. I don't want to live here, right? You got
mm.
all the money in the world, but you don't want to live in the country that's yours. And you can't
Right.
go to another country because they hate you, right? So
Yeah.
you better fix it. So that's what I think is going to happen. They're going that's to me, that's the thing that's going to push him over the edge. Now, whatever Putin or anybody in Saudi Arabia or wherever it is, China, what they would do to us is to embarrass us. So
Mhm.
if they
Yeah.
do something, it's going to be to embarrass us. Whereas the Republicans or the oligarchs, I feel like they're going to try to pivot. They're going to make the phone calls to the whatever SCOTUS, whatever Supreme Court, whatever senators or reps that they own, and they're going to say, you're going to change your votes. So I
Mm,
think look right now, look, you guys, right now, I saw a video from the Bulwark where Lindsey Graham is in Ukraine. I don't know why Lindsey Graham is in Ukraine. You could say he's there to say bad things. I'm not
mhm.
saying he's doing a good thing. I'm just saying the man is in Ukraine.
Yeah.
Guess what? Steve Bannon went on with Chris Cuomo, the Cuomo brother from New York, and Bannon said, we need to arrest Lindsey Graham.
Well, wasn't he talking about sanctioning Russia too?
Yeah, and Chris Cuomo's like, "What are you talking about? How can we just arrest somebody for visiting Ukraine?" Bannon's like, "Well, we need to remove his passport." So what's going on with that? Like, why
Mhm.
all of a sudden is Lindsey Graham on the wrong side?
Right. Well, and also too, I mean, you have Elon who invested so much of his money and influence in the election, and now there's a big beef between them.
Yes, yes,
It's going to surely get
it's falling
interesting.
apart.
Hmm.
It's falling
Yeah.
apart. So do you see Elon like? I've always seen him being ruined this year
Mhm.
in 2025. Do you see
Yeah.
him fleeing or going to prison or being deported?
Yeah. I've never felt prison, although I do feel like massive investigations. I've always felt like he ends up fleeing and like afraid for his life, like the mob is coming after him. Is kind of what I in, intuit with that.
So not the
Um,
law, the mob.
the mob, so like the torches and pitchforks coming for him.
Is that his
Yeah.
shareholders?
Oh, I mean that's a good point. Yeah, and obviously he's already lost so much money this year, but I see that continuing to be a trend for him as well.
I do too.
I
These,
see him getting desperate enough where he may try to make a deal and kind of give some kind of inside information, perhaps about the election at some point. I don't feel like it's just to that point yet. I think it's got to escalate a little bit further, but
he
doing
truly is
something to
that
save
dumb
himself. Mm-hmm.
that he would incriminate himself. I mean,
Yeah.
basically, he's trying to point the finger at somebody else, but like they say, there's 4 fingers pointing back at you. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's really going to get interesting. I believe you had said as well. I know that I've been saying I did not feel that bromance lasting for very long, but between Trump and Musk, and it felt like it was going to be a bit explosive. I think actually the timing of what I was picking up was right too. I was feeling like a big divide between them during the summer and it escalating. So we're just about there.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and it looks like Miller's trying to take Elon's place,
Mm,
or something.
yeah. It's going to be interesting for sure.
It's insane. It's what it is. It's insane, honestly.
So have you heard, Susan, and I know we both talked about election interference for entertainment purposes only. Um, and I think you had posted about it on your last video. I didn't watch all of it, but I did catch a couple minutes of it. About like the smart elections case going on in New York, and kind of it feels like this may be like the one of the first dominoes to fall as more and more is being exposed. I didn't get exactly what you were intuiting with it, but what are you picking up about the election interference and these cases starting to pop up?
Well, just what you said. I feel like this is the domino. And it feel I mean, just when you intuit the New York case with
Mm.
smart elections, I mean, what do you intuit about that case?
Well, I don't think it's big enough. It feels like it's like the start of it is what I'm
Does it feel
thinking.
strong though? Does it feel viable? Does it feel
Mhm.
like it's going to stick?
Oh yeah, I do feel they're going to investigate it and do audits of the ballots.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mhm.
I mean,
But
it's not it's small,
it's not a huge thing by any means, but it kind of gets the ball rolling
but
for
it sticks.
the
It
massive,
sticks.
and especially like the states, all the swing states and all of that.
It's going to catch
It's going to
fire.
be a
It's
mess
like,
though. It's going to take forever to really investigate it so deeply. Where I don't even know. Like I said, I almost question: do they overturn the results, or is it just an interim period? He's removed, and then like we have to have a whole new election because it's too much of a mess.
that's the $1 million question. And
Mhm.
I think it depends on how bad it gets. So the oligarchs, the people who run our country, like the Jamie Dimon that owns Chase, right?
Mhm.
Like all these people that literally run the country, they and to a degree, the Republicans and the Democrats, everybody wants us to go to work. They want us to go to school. They want the GDP. They want the productivity. They want things to just chug along. They don't want to interrupt that, right?
Mhm.
When you start interrupting that, that interrupts their profits. And so what I feel like is the oligarchs making some phone calls and going, we want to put the fix in. Like
Mhm.
we want to tell you what's going to happen, right?
Yeah.
They've got the phone numbers of SCOTUS. I mean, these are people that have trillions of dollars. They can make those phone calls. But I don't think it's that easy. The problem is, I don't think it's that easy because Americans are so mad. And
Mhm.
I don't think we even understand why we're mad. I don't even think we understand what really happened. And I think the more we learn, the more distrusting we get of
Mhm.
the whole system. And that's deadly. That's a
Yeah.
problem because if we don't trust the system, so this is what they're afraid of. This is why they don't want the vote stuff to get out.
Mhm.
Because
Or why
once
didn't it
we
come out
lose,
earlier too?
what's that?
Or why it wasn't exposed before he was
Exactly.
inaugurated and all of that. Yeah.
Because once we lose confidence, why even pay taxes? Why go to
Mhm.
work? What we literally become separated from our identity as Americans. And
Yeah.
so the oligarchs just want to, like, behind the scenes, the way they do, right? Make some little details, move this person out, put this person in. But what I saw was them putting in Vance, and Vance is worse.
Mm,
And I think all of us have seen Vance only be in an office for a short period of time,
yeah.
if at all, because he's
Well, and
worse.
Russo said before even the election, Trump didn't choose Vance. Vance
No,
was chosen for him.
exactly.
They wanted Trump's
Exactly.
base, and at some point they were going to replace him. But I don't.
Exactly.
If he's in there for a very short window.
Short period of
I'm not
time.
even seeing him being in there, to be honest with you.
So so if we fast forward in our little psychic brains, if we
Mhm,
fast forward to, let's just say Vance is in the White House, then what my question is, what is happening at that point? Is there civil unrest?
mhm.
Is there, what is life like in America when he is behind the Resolute desk?
Like I said, I'm having a hard time even seeing him behind the
I
desk.
know, right?
I'm not
Right,
seeing it. But
right.
also, too, even if he was, all of Trump's base would think he's the you know, they took his man
No,
out, so that he's an opportunist. They would all turn on him.
he would turn on him. It would be chaos, right?
Yeah.
So, okay, but here's the problem, right? So let's say the oligarchs, design a new presidency. Who are they going to put in, right? Like, I feel like they could put in a temporary presidency until an election could be held. I think that's
Mhm.
what they would say. So it doesn't sound like a coup. And I think it could be a coalition presidency
Yeah,
where
I
they
agree.
pick a Republican
It's
and a
it's
Democrat.
bipartisan.
The MAGAs aren't going to be, they're not going to sign on with anything, period,
Mhm.
nothing. So you can just forget them because they're not going to go along with this. But I think everyday citizens that aren't political will say, okay, right, like we'll go with a coalition government.
Mm, yeah.
But how
And like
bad
I
would it
said, it's
have to
not gonna
be for
be.
that to happen?
Mhm. I don't know, like I said, the summer feels like it's gonna be a bit crazy.
Crazy.
So, I guess when things get that uncertain, they're gonna have to come in and do something.
They will, because they can't. It's off our democracy is off the rails, and it's
Mhm.
it's not this. They don't want to live in this country. This is why they're doing. It's not because they're great people. It's not because they like us. It's because
Right,
they don't want to live in a third world banana republic. They don't want that.
right. Well, and they still want their power and influence. They wanna be able to kind of create it. They're the ones pulling all the strings behind the scenes, so.
And if we're not buying anything and we're rioting and we're not working, then they don't. Then their stock is down.
Mhm.
Their company is
Yeah.
down, right? Like, I mean, so they have the most to lose in some ways.
This isn't going to be a very quick transition, though, just so everybody's clear. Like, this feels like it's something that goes on well into next year,
What part of the
like middle of
transition?
next year, like when Trump's out and they have to have somebody in there as an
You feel like
interim.
that could be even next year? You see him there over the holiday, the winter, Christmas, Hanukkah, Kwanzaa holiday?
You see who, Vance
Trump,
or Trump? No, I like I said, I kind of where the energy feels like it's right now. It's just like he's out like September. But
October,
then
right?
by the
Okay.
time they try to get everything stabilized, figured out what we're gonna do, because it's gonna be so unprecedented, and we don't have a system to
We
to
don't.
deal with. So it's gonna take time. I'm feeling like it's gonna go well into like middle of next year, like summer of next year.
What do you mean when you say it's gonna go? So do you see a
Before we would have
vote?
another election.
Another
I'm
election in summer of next year.
Mhm.
But
Or maybe
in the
even in the fall.
meantime, some sort of clout coalition presidency.
Mhm. Yeah, something to keep things stable. It's gonna take a
Because
while to work through all of the chaos too.
right. So but
Yeah.
once he's out and we whoever we are, we decide that we're going to put in this coalition presidency. Let's say that happens in October. Things are pretty calm, I feel like. Maybe tenuous, but calm. Do you
Mhm.
feel like that, or do you feel like things are still scary?
It feels like it's more settled because there's more security, but I do feel like it's still going to be very divided, and um, there may still be some kind of unrest, with that. Like I said, his base is his base. They
Yeah,
drank the Kool-Aid. They don't want anybody else.
yeah.
Even if there wasn't the election interference, it would have been. We were feeling delays with the election anyway.
I
Um,
know. Last year, y'all,
last
last
year.
year. You can watch our videos.
So it's going to take a while to calm that energy down.
Yeah, Terralyn, it is too calm in the sense that I feel like it's almost a lockdown situation.
Mhm.
Like I keep seeing post COVID or right after that happened, the pandemic,
Mhm.
right when we were all locked down. It could be because of the unrest. There's curfews in
Mm.
major cities. I mean, it could be pretty locked down, but
It feels like it's isolated, though. I don't feel like
yeah,
that's. It's not like the whole US
not
and
the whole certain
martial law
cities,
and all of that, but
certain
I do
cities.
agree
Yeah.
that some cities are gonna have to put a curfew in place, and, um, it doesn't I feel actually it calms down a little bit. I feel that the summer is when it's gonna be pretty bad.
Yeah. I feel like it's a timeout. Like
Mhm.
October, November, December, January. It's a timeout. And
Yeah.
it's kind of like we need it. We need a cooling off period.
Yeah, for sure.
I mean, people aren't going to like the curfews. People didn't like curfews during the pandemic. You remember?
Mm.
I'm not saying this is great. There's going to be people that hate it, but I think the summer is going to be so raucous and so hot and so temperamental that I
Mm.
think some of us are going to be happy to have that extra, control.
Yeah. That's where I said, like, the energy feels weird because in a sense, there's, like, a sigh of relief. I feel like a collective sigh of relief, like, "Okay, we're getting through it." But then, like, this anger, this collective anger and resistance and uprising is kind of coming into place as well. So it's gonna be really heavy, we're going through all of the rage and uncertainty with that, but also too, like, mentally, spiritually, it's almost like you know, like we can breathe again. It's not so heavy on our
That's
chest.
what I feel like. I feel like personally, yeah, that I let out a sigh of relief.
Mhm.
Like the
Yeah.
madness is over. Like sanity returns to the land. Maybe it's not sanity we've ever seen before. Maybe it's something different. We've never experienced it before. But I do think that it adds a sense of stability.
Mhm. Yeah, for sure. Can I say, and this I got this hit a while ago, I wrote it down. Um, and I'm not sure if you talked about this, but Anonymous is supposedly coming out with an announcement about Trump or the administration. I think they're saying like end or beginning of July, early end of June, beginning of July. But I'll say when we were talking about Elon, it feels like it isn't connected with Elon and Doge is what I'm just kind of got very strongly. Because I know a lot of people are asking, what is this announcement? What do they have? It feels like it's in connection to Trump, but I saw Elon as it kind of hit me too. Do you get anything with like the anonymous announcement, or do you feel that that's going to be a big deal? Because they've always kind of put things out there like, okay, we maybe knew this, but or they like to tease a lot. We
They
know
tease a
something's
lot.
going on,
I don't
but do
think
you
they
actually
all
feel? Mhm.
yeah. I don't think they
Do you feel like
often come
anything's going to
through
change
with the
on the
big
surface?
goods, you know what I mean? Like,
Mhm.
but but I think that maybe that's a warning for the people that need the warning, right? Like,
Mm.
maybe that's a way to go to the public and say, if you don't straighten up, I'm gonna reveal, right? When you were talking about that for Elon, I heard hit job. So I think that these cast of characters you've been talking about, they need to get rid of some of these
Mm.
problems, right? Like Elon is a problem. For one thing, I think you're right. I think he could say something. He's not a politician. He doesn't understand how to guard his words. And he could incriminate himself or incriminate Trump, right?
Yeah.
So I think yes, that they'll try to get
I
rid of
feel
him,
something there,
like
though.
to discredit him. What's that?
I said I feel something there that feels more than just a threat. I do feel like they're going to release something.
But I mean,
I
it's a
can't
threat
say that
until the
it's going to
courts
be
pick it
like,
up, until somebody does something with it, right?
well, right. Well, and that's the thing too. We may hear about it, but does mainstream media pick it up?
Right.
Is it the big collective thing that everybody knows about? No, it feels like it's part of the dominoes kind of falling
Right. Right. Right.
until it gets to that boiling point where it's, mainstream media and everybody's just had enough, and then everybody's against Trump and MAGA.
Do you feel like his shareholders are going to come for him, the Tesla? Because I feel like he's removed or forced
Oh
out
yeah,
of Tesla.
I felt like
Do you?
he was going to be forced out of Tesla.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Okay. That's a start.
Yeah, and it doesn't feel like it's too far out there too. I'm feeling like within the next few months.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
like
agree.
he's out and he's replaced because they're just losing so much money. Not even just here in the States, but Europe wants nothing to do with them.
And I love that for them.
Yeah, right. But even after he's gone, I kind of feel like Tesla's relevance, it's not able to repair itself. Like it will be around for a while, but they're not going to be able to fix the damages that Elon caused. And I feel something very similar with Starlink too. I don't think it's the same kind of setup, but I kind of feel like Starlink crashing.
What about the whatever his rockets are with NASA? That's different. What is that called? SpaceX. What about SpaceX?
SpaceX isn't is that Elon?
That's
Or
Elon.
okay.
Yeah, he has Starlink, which is the satellites. He has the
I
rockets.
get him
He's
confused with Bezos and his
oh yeah, Bezos.
he's got a rocket ship company too.
But
I can't
Tesla works. But Musk works with NASA.
Yeah, he's
Musk
got all
has
the government contracts.
a better contract. Yeah, he's got so many government contracts. I mean,
Yeah.
you want to talk about social welfare? This guy's on corporate welfare for
Do
real.
you feel like
Blue
with
Origin is the
Trump
other.
being
Thank
pissed
you.
off about him going so hard against his budget and really turning on him, do you feel like he shreds the contracts?
The contracts with
With the government.
oh.
That
I
just
never
hit
thought
me.
about it. I could see Trump doing that. He thinks he's king.
Like I promised you this, you're gonna turn on me. Like, no, you're done.
Yeah,
Like shred the
no honor
contract.
among thieves, right? I feel like that could happen in July.
Mm,
But I feel
yeah.
like Musk really a lot of bad stuff starts happening in August and September, kind of maybe even culminating in October.
Mm,
But July,
thank you.
August are rough
Yeah, Blue
for everybody.
Origin Bezos. Thank you, chat.
Yeah,
I feel like every time I get stuck on something or forget, chat's always there. They got all
I
the
know. I love it.
information. All right. So I have some questions, Start. I know that when me and Susan get together, it's kind of like psychic ping pong. She gets ahead and is like the back and forth with it. So it's not always the most focused, but we cover a lot and a lot of relevant stuff going on right now. Judy asks, hello, Kevin and Susan. Will some of the pardons be reversed after Taco Man is removed?
Reversed. So put them back in prison.
Yeah, I'm not feeling that.
I'm not really feeling it. I mean, federal pardons are permanent by law. Now, can Congress pass some sort of law that says yes? And then could there be a process that they review these pardons? Yes. But I think what we're all learning here with due process is that justice moves really slow. I mean, painfully just slow. But the reverse is nabbing somebody off the street, right? So maybe we need to speed justice up, but we need to be careful here. So yeah, I don't see it. Maybe I'm wrong.
Yeah.
But I think they could go to jail anyway. Like I feel like if your energy is your destiny or you're dumb enough to
You're a
keep
criminal?
criming,
Yeah.
you're gonna go
Yeah.
to jail. How many people go to jail over and over and over again? So
Yeah.
like Bannon, like Stone, Like, I think you said you didn't see Musk going to jail. I see him fleeing, but I feel like there is international talk about
Mhm.
investigating him.
Oh yeah, I agree. There's definitely investigations. I'm not picking up jail. I mean, I could be wrong with it. But no, I agree. I'm not, the funny thing is that Donald Trump abuses his pardon power, and lets criminals all out in the streets. But now he's all putting the focus in on, oh, well, we're going to look into reversing Joe Biden's pardons and all of that. I don't see that happening either. I mean, I do feel like some of the pardons were sold and not being illegal. I don't know if it necessarily reverses the pardon, but I feel like there is, um, like it's obviously it's a crime, it's illegal, so there will be charges over that. I do see as a result of Trump abusing his pardon power, though, I do feel like they're going to look into limiting the presidential pardon power
Yes.
in the future. Not necessarily get rid of it, but putting some guardrails, which I think our whole constitution, our whole democracy, it's kind of just hanging on the edge right now. The
Yeah.
thing about Trump is he's showing where we're vulnerable, so we'll be able to make it stronger after he's gone. So I see a lot of revamping, um, the government to keep our Supreme Court, um, a lot of changes in Congress and the Senate, just to strengthen those guardrails so that this never happens again. And I do see them looking into doing something about the pardon power.
And I mean, I get it. People are saying this is illegal, and God knows, right? How many things has he done that are just flat out illegal? Like, we know without a doubt, the scholars have said this is illegal. But the question is, when I see him being removed from office or fleeing from office, it's almost like I feel like there's as good a chance that he flees, like thinking they're coming for me, I'm
Mm.
going to run. I've always said I see him like in a president in exile. But do you see him being arrested? I mean, do you see him? How does that work? Like, does he get arrested? Does he get 25th Amendment? Does he get impeached and convicted? I mean, how does that work?
Yeah. Well, I do feel like there's going to be impeachments, but I just don't. We've already seen a few. They have not been very successful, and you really would need a huge amount of Republicans to shift sides, and there'll be some as things get worse, but I don't think enough for that. But as we know, the cabinet, if you're going to use the 25th Amendment, if he's batshit crazy and out of his mind, that's a possibility. But his health it's so hard to actually kind of see a long future for him as well. Like
Well, that's
I'm
also
not
true.
picking up jail time for him.
That's also true.
Maybe if he's around long enough, maybe he flees and until he passes. But I don't feel a very long life for Trump or for Putin. Kind of going there.
That is the other
Somebody had asked if
option.
they were karmically connected with like their endings, and I do feel like there's
Yes.
a connection there for sure.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
Mhm.
Yes. I totally have always seen that. So yeah, he could just cross over, but we still have this big problem of how we create a new government.
Mhm.
We also have a big problem of, then if he crosses over, then we don't get a chance to address the illegality of the pardons or the illegality of the things that he did
Right.
in the office. And
It's gonna be
what I
such a
would say
mess
is,
to clean up after he's gone. It's gonna take years.
that's what I'm
I don't
saying. I don't see, look at you guys, look how long it took us to do Jan 6. How many
Mhm.
years did it take us to investigate that, right? I don't see us, I mean, maybe I'm wrong. I'm happy to be wrong, right? But I don't see all of a sudden this court case, all this moving within 3 or 6 months where he's, impeached, convicted, whatever. He's, he's got charges.
Yeah.
He's got criminal indictments. He's got court cases. If you guys look, it takes years and years for a court case to even come before a judge. And look what he does. He is a professional delayer of court cases. That's how he got to be president.
Well, right. And especially too when you have the establishment on Democrats and Republicans that are so cautious and have to be meticulous with everything,
Yeah.
to make it sure it's not like we're attacking the other side or politicizing, all of the illegal acts that he did too. You have to have like that warrior to go in there and move quickly, and it's not gonna happen.
That's just not us right now. Maybe in the
Right.
future. And yeah, if he dies, it's all quicker. I'm just saying that if he dies, we don't get to convict him. We don't get to go through the motions of trying a president. So then that stuff sits there for the next time that is challenged in a way, right? Which is fine. I mean, I'm happy for him to just go whatever way that he wants to
Right.
go. I'm happy for him to go. I'm ready to be done with this. I'll take the D. You know what I
Hmm.
mean? Like if I didn't learn all the things, okay, I'll take the D. I just need to get through this course and get to
Yeah.
the other side.
Well, and the thing with it though too is I get it. We all have PTSD and been dealing with this for a decade now with this
Ugh.
just all the blatant corruption and hatred and um, injustice. So it's like, when is it going to happen? Unfortunately, it's out of our control. And I get it. We're all frustrated about it, but I mean,
Yeah.
I would just rather, he just be out of the picture, and then we can kind of move on and rebuild.
The good news is that I think the majority of our community do not see him staying in
Mhm.
power. We do not see him staying in office. However that happens, we don't know, but we don't see him having 4 years of this. And I will just hang on to my thread of hope that the American oligarchs cannot survive this. Their
Mhm.
companies cannot survive this, right? And we
Yeah.
buy their products. We are the economic generate engine here.
Yeah. I will say, in regards to Judy's question here, even though I don't believe that a pardon can be reversed and somebody put back into jail, even if it's illegitimate, I don't think that there's anything in our constitution or anything that does that. I do feel a lot of the criminals, I would say a good half of them, I see back behind bars
Right.
because of
Me too.
because they can't
Maybe
stay out of
even
jail,
more than half, maybe
and maybe more.
60%,
Yeah.
70%. Yeah, I agree.
Hmm.
Because they've been criming, right?
Yeah.
I mean, they're
You just don't
surrounded
stop
by
becoming a
criminals.
criminal. You're right.
Oh, his whole cabinet has been breaking the laws, allegedly, right? So, um, justice will come for them. It may be slow, but it is going to follow them. It is going to come for them.
Hmm. I'm going through some of these questions, and Susan and I haven't necessarily picked them up, but because of the psychic ping pong, we've kind of gotten like
Oh,
most of
wow,
them that
that's
we're
funny.
going through here. So
That's awesome.
this is a good one. Brad wants to know who's the next Democrat to run for president. Well, there's going to be many that run.
Just
Who gets the
there's
nomination is the question.
they're going to all throw their hat in the ring. Here's what I'll tell you is so I feel like these oligarchs are going to start pouring money into the Democrat that they want because they're seeing the writing on the wall. And I'm talking about senators too, right? And reps. They see the writing on the wall. They know that they're going to lose power. So now it's time to buy the Democrats. So look at the Democrats and see who's getting those big donations.
Mhm.
I don't think that Newsom is done. I people are like, he says he's not running for president. People say they're not running for president 1 week before they say they're going to run for president. I mean, that's just the way that they do it. It's politically correct to say you're not running. I'm not a fan, and I'm even less of a fan lately. But I think that he's I think that's why he's kind of changing his stripes a little bit. I think he's being
Mhm.
influenced by this money that's coming in. Do you feel like Tim Walz is going to run?
The thing I've never saw, even though he would have been a great vice president, and I really enjoyed Tim Walz, I never saw president for him.
Has it changed? Because I never
No,
saw it either, but I'm starting to think that if
you
it
know what?
he
It's interesting that you said Newsom, and I can throw in Tim Walz if you want to focus more on him. But even before this election, before Biden dropped out, we had talked about 2028 and who may be the nominee. And we've both always said it would be between Newsom and Kamala, and I don't feel like Kamala's out of it either. So it
oh,
may
she's not out of it.
the
She's
energy
not
may
out
have
of it.
changed for a little bit, but it may still be Newsom versus Kamala.
Oh my God. I'll take that. I'll take those odds. I'll
Mm-hmm.
take those odds. I think she'll beat him.
Yeah.
Because I think by the time we get there, Americans will have had like bleach poured in their eyes, and they will be very clear-headed, and they'll be able to sniff out inauthenticity.
Yeah.
Is there
Please don't
anybody
shoot
else?
the
Like Josh
messenger.
Shapiro was
Mhm.
running. Who else was running?
It's going to be a crowded field. They're all going to be running. Whitmer, I see Pete Buttigieg running again. It's going to be like 20 people running. I think it's going to even be more than the last Democratic primary.
Do you see Jasmine Crockett? I mean, I'm a huge fan.
Now, I'm not saying it
Huge.
right now.
I don't
I
see
don't
it either.
think AOC right now.
She's kind of building her career. She's building
Mhm.
her power base. Do you see her switching over to the Senate?
I'm not picking that up right now. I feel like she's going to stay in the House. Maybe it'd be more leadership stuff.
Yeah.
AOC will make a run. I don't think it's 2028. It might be 2032, or it might be a little bit longer. She's still pretty young, but I almost feel like AOC may go to the Senate.
I feel like AOC will go to the Senate, likely. Not 100%, but I feel like if she feels like she's got a good shot, I think she'll do it.
We're getting
Do you,
that. Can I just say real quick? I don't think Susan or I are both fans of Newsom or want him to be president. We can just share with you the energy that we feel. So don't shoot the messenger, you guys.
oh no, don't shoot the messenger. Well, I mean, you can shoot the messenger, but we duck.
Well, right, but it's not us.
Yeah,
You
it's
know,
not
we're not
us.
guys.
We
We're not
have
gonna.
to say things all the time we don't like.
Yeah, exactly.
Like he's going to be alive tomorrow. That's
Mhm.
one thing that I would say that I don't like.
I feel like it might be Kamala again. We'll see.
I
It
swear it's her
doesn't feel like
destiny.
it's like completely set in stone because a part of her feels, after the last experience, like, do I even want to put myself back into that? And that's where, like, does she run for governor? Does she run for president? I feel like she's going to run for president. We'll see how she decides that, though.
And
That's where
I
free will
love
comes.
that she's on the down low. I love that she's
Mhm.
hanging back because if she gets in the public eye too much, they'll attack her. And then that just gives them more fodder. We don't want that. I
She'll be
want
back in
her
the
to
public
stay
eye this
out
summer.
of the public eye until she's running.
Mhm.
Don't let
I
them
see
like
her
they
coming
beat
back
up
this
Hillary
summer
for all
too.
those years.
Yeah, I do see her coming back as part of the resistant movement this summer.
Yeah, but
She'll be
I
leading the
don't
charge.
see her jumping not like Tim Walz. I think Tim Walz is going to be more of a body blow guy. Let me take all your
Mhm.
blows. Let's keep those people to the side.
Yeah.
Um,
Well, and he's been out there quite a bit doing
yeah,
town
is
halls and
amazing.
kind of going throughout. But I do see Kamala coming back to the forefront and really being part of a leader in the resistant movement. Yeah.
Annie says in the 2030s is when the Pluto return for the chart of the Constitution occurs. So we will have a new form of government.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, I think so. There's a lot of big astrology happening right now.
That's a lot of big
Um,
changes.
Before we go, people are asking, I know people ask this question all the time. I'm not sure if you've talked about this too much, but people are really upset about Palantir having all of our data or Musk having our data or all the people that have our data.
Mhm.
What do you feel about that?
Is I have not heard of this, but like I was out sick all last week and busy. Is that where they're getting people's voting records and seeing who's Trump supporters and who's not, or is this something else? I don't see them being able to be successful to target everybody who's against Trump, if that's what the question is. Like, it's too big, and they don't have the resources to do that. That would take such a long time to figure out who everybody supports and all of that, and so many people to go through. I do feel like
But
they
what
are
about 5
collecting
years from
data.
now? What if what in 5 years do you think that they could control that?
Well, by then Trump won't even be in the picture, so.
But the data is in the company's hands. I don't know. I'm with you. It doesn't keep me up at night. It really doesn't.
No.
Honestly, I think they track us through TikTok, through our social media, through our phones. I mean, my God, facial recognition at the airport. I mean,
Mhm.
they're tracking us, completely tracking us already. I will ask this question because back
Yeah.
when, and this was months ago, when Social Security was hacked and they stole everybody's Social Security number, I did
Mhm.
a video about it, and I felt like, and this goes along with the new government in some way, I feel like we're all going to be given new numbers. We're all going
Yeah.
to be giving new numbers. Forget the Social Security number. Forget it. We're going to get a new number.
It's
And
updated is what I just heard.
it's like
It's like
updated, right?
upgraded
Like
to a new system, but it uses the same foundation, but they're able to kind of upgrade it in a way, um, where if any of that information was compromised, they're able to kind of safeguard it and replace it. Is that what you were picking up?
basically, yeah, an upgraded version of it that's replaced. That, okay,
Yeah.
you've got this data. Now we're
I
gonna,
don't know if
you
it's
know,
new numbers. It's maybe it gets out of numbers and turns to, what are those things that you can kind of scan with your phone?
biometrics. Oh,
Yeah, like
like an eye
like an
scanner
encrypted
or
like an encrypted code or something like that.
uh-huh,
I don't know,
uh-huh.
it feels like it's different than numbers, though.
Right, right. Yeah. But
Yeah,
do you
that
feel
would be
like we're
hard
gonna
too if we all lost our Social Security numbers and had to learn a new one. I can't even remember my password for all
no,
my
right,
emails.
right. But I mean, we
Yeah,
don't know our credit card numbers, a lot of us, right?
yeah,
So I mean, whatever it is, we're gonna have to be certain that we can trust the government. That's gonna be another kind of
mhm,
rock in our shoe, right? Like, you want me to do this, but I don't know if we can trust you.
yeah,
And I think it's going to be hard for even the Democrats to be trusted, right? Like, so I think this is why we've got a few years of this sort of turmoil of, this change, as we learn about how we've been hoodwinked.
yeah. It feels as people were saying QR, and that's kind of how it was shown to me, but I don't think it's a QR. I think it's like blockchain technology with it. But it's gonna kind of go as we're advancing technologically. Um, it's like it doesn't feel like it's just numbers, but it's more of a secure thing that is individualized. People are talking about like mark of the beast. I'm not saying that like you have like a QR code like on your palm of
No,
your
we're not
hand or
talking about
something like
chips.
that.
Now,
I'm
they want to
talking
do that. I did a video about that too. They want to do
mm,
that, but I'm not talking about that.
right.
It's not that. And we can learn a lot from Europe about privacy. Europe is very good about privacy. They really
Mm,
protect people's privacy online, all kinds of ways. So, there's actually countries out there doing this work that we can look at and learn, and then talk to our senators and talk to our representatives. We can be the leader of the conversation.
yeah.
We can just constantly bring it up and bring it up and bring it up.
People are
I mean,
saying
it's
that every
linked to us. I don't know if it's linked to the old. I don't know how. It's like Kevin is saying, it's not a technology that I understand.
right.
So,
I
but
can
it's a
just share with
new
you what I picked
identifier.
up.
Let's just call it
Mhm.
that. It's
It's
a new
something, yeah.
identifier.
And maybe it's symbolic with it too. They're showing like a QR because it's something like a QR code. But it didn't feel like it was a QR, like a phone scan. I don't know. I can just like I said, that was kind of my interpretation of it. We'll see. But there will be something in place that maybe not new numbers, but something that kind of as technology is evolving, that it kind of supports the security aspect of it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Anything else before we wrap up, Susan? I feel like by the next show, by our next collaboration, it's going to be wild. We're going to have so much. Well, there's so much to talk about, but I feel like what our show today was like a year ago. You know?
Yes. Kind of be funny to go back and watch our show from June of last year
Yeah.
and
Well,
July of
interesting
last
too
year.
how even though maybe everything that we had talked about the election wasn't, it was weird and sketchy when we were picking up certain energies of possibilities with it. Maybe it didn't all align like we originally thought, but it's kind of interesting to see now how some of the same
It is.
things we were picking up like a year or two ago is kind of coming back, but just in a different interpretation, if that makes sense, but still kind of really resonates with what we picked up.
Yeah. It's like the energy is the same. It manifested maybe a little bit differently, but the base of the energy is the same. It's the same
Yeah.
thing. Yeah, everybody take care of yourselves is what I would say.
Yeah.
Again, you can enjoy your life. This is look, we're all waking up every day and celebrating birthdays or going to dinner or putting together that puzzle or whatever we're doing, right? Live your life. Don't let them rob you of your life.
Right. Yeah. And it's so important right now, too, just making sure that we're doing the good self-care. Really, that energy maintenance is so crucial for us light workers, and especially those that are very empathic. um, kind of really shielding and being very mindful of what you're taking in. If you watch the news all day, you're not going to be feeling very good afterwards. It's all fear, doom. You're just kind of obsessing with the current energies. Distract yourself from that. Be aware of what's going on. It's important, but don't allow that to rule your life or to put you in such a resistant state of fear or even anger. Allow that to motivate you to act upon it. And that's the energy that we're feeling for the summer. It's action. It's people standing up. People have had enough. We're angry and we're not going to take it anymore. So, but be very careful as well. Just take good care.
Take good care. And I see it's Lisa Foster's birthday on Monday. Happy birthday.
Happy
Happy birthday
birthday,
to
Lisa.
everybody who's celebrating and take good care of yourselves. Yeah. And stay in your community. Come on these
Mhm.
lives and support each other, or find your community, your local community. Even it's so being isolated right now, I think, is not good. So
Mhm.
see if you've got some fellow Democrats around. Even if you live in a red place, there's always a few of us, right?
Yeah.
And it's a good time to get together and have a picnic or a potluck, or just have somebody that understands you.
Yeah. Go outside, go to the park, get some fresh
Go
air.
outside as soon as the weather's
Connect
good.
with
That's
nature.
great grounding. Offload all that energy. Mother Earth will
Mhm.
cleanse it and transmute it. Yeah, happy
Absolutely.
birthday, everybody.
All right, Susan. Well, it's always a lot of fun. I look forward to our next session, but um, we're going to sign off for now. You all have a great night. Take good care. We'll see you soon.
Take care.